Welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We all do. It's been programmed right into us. But what if we flip that whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our life, in our bodies, in our minds, our finances, our relationships, and everything else. Let's jump right on in. I'm Andy, and joining me in everything is my life partner, Ben Wong.
So apparently we've been around for a long time.
Yeah. We've been around for a little while. We've been around for a while. That's not what I meant when I was talking with our guests.
Sure, what do you mean?
That we've been together for a little while. We've been together for a little while.
How long have we been together?
I just did the math with my iPhone before we got on, just
Is that
because I knew you were going to ask me that. And we've been together for 36 years. So I've been with Minna since she's been 5. Or 0.
Well, next year is 16, so you do the math.
Yeah. Do the math.
We've been like half a century here.
Yeah, we've been together for a while. Right. So
Talk about our relationship. How's it going?
I think it's doing pretty good. I think, at least in my perspective, I think we're doing pretty good. Today, we're talking about marriage and relationships, and good is good, right? That's the right answer.
Okay, so why are we called a foolish couple? Is it because you're foolish?
Well, I think we're both a little quirky. Um,
I'm a rebel.
yeah, and I'm crazy. Or
Yeah.
we are both also born on April Fool's Day, and a lot of people don't believe that. And me and Minna are born on the same day, same year, same city, not same hospital,
Different mom.
and different mom. Yes, that's the most important part. We made sure of that when we're starting. But one of the main things I think we call ourselves a foolish couple, and this was sort of pushed towards us a little bit too, because people think that we think a little bit different. We're not your traditional thinkers.
For sure. I mean, we actually have a lot of friends that are single, and they ask us how we stay together, and a lot of times I don't know how to answer it. It just became naturally.
Yeah, I think it really comes back to how we're raised. You come from a great family, by the way, just saying,
No, not that great.
Well, your parents had a very great, loving relationship, while my parents was the complete opposite. So, I think maybe I was modeling our relationship after your parents. At least that's the way I'm thinking. But we've been together for a while. We've been around for a while.
Well, aren't you glad that I'm not modeling a relationship after your family?
That would be a big problem. And I'm glad my parents, my dad's gone, but I'm glad my mom can't understand English, so she doesn't know anything about this show, or she'll call me right away and just have her, just yell at me, in a lot of profanity, for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, part of what we do is that we don't follow traditional thinking.
Correct.
Traditionally, Asian family is like you go to a lot of schooling, you get a lot of degrees, and you come out, get a job, get married, have family and all that. We've kind of thrown that all out.
Yeah, I sort of messed that up pretty bad. I still remember your dad and mom every time when I dropped out of university after the second year. So, when are you going back to school? What are your plans for my daughter? And yeah, that still rings in my head today. And I'm sure your dad's still probably thinking the same thing.
Well, we do different things, and we're kind of foolish, and sometimes we talk to stuffed animals like this one.
Yeah, this is our travel companion. And if you follow us on Facebook and stuff like that, you will see her name's Stacy. You see her in the car while we're doing road trips. You see her on the airport, and she basically, dances. And she dances.
There you go. So, a little foolish that way, that if we try to really think about how we manage to stay together, is we learn what annoys each other, and, just don't do that.
Yeah, I figured that out pretty early on, and just don't press those buttons. And if I press those buttons, I learn very quickly not to escalate.
I would throw Stacy at you. Where the other thing is, try to guide your energy where it should be. I know a lot of times we take our anger or whatever frustration from work, and you take it home and take it out on your family, and that just won't work because they don't deserve that kind of energy. And so, before you change your scene, basically, switch out of the energy and just move out from there.
That is so true. I come from a village family, and our energy level is whoever speaks the loudest. And I'm sure you're probably noticing that already. That's just the way I'm brought up. The louder you are, the more you're heard. But for my family, it was always about arguments. Who's going to have the last say? And that was what energy meant to them. But, coming into this relationship is like, well, it's not really all about that negative energy, because that negative energy just drives things to go in the wrong direction. So, I just want to add about the energy. We really concentrate on the positive in everything that we see.
It's interesting. I think you once come to my house and we were just dating, and you didn't know my parents are actually home because they're so quiet.
That is true. And it's a scary feeling, right? Because I don't know if they're sneaking up on me and, or catching up. There's like, giving, teenagers, right? You do stupid things when you're teenagers, right? And not knowing if they're home or not, you don't know what you can get away with, right?
And of course, just have a lot of gratitude. We managed to stay together, and that's a lot of thanks to both parties. And just, don't think about all these negatives that happened in the past. Things in the past you can't change. Just look towards your future.
Definitely learn from the mistakes and move forward, right? I love that.
For sure. And of course, if you want something, you have to tell them. Don't hint. Don't say. Don't drop different kinds of hints because they don't get it. Sometimes I would text you because I don't want to tell you. But that's one way to tell you. Clear communication. Just tell them what you want, what you need them to do, and don't beat around the bushes.
I want to share a quick story. Like sometimes she want me to do something and I don't get the hint. So I said, look, you need to just tell me what you want. So one day she put 2 pineapples on the kitchen counter. Okay, that means she wants me to cut them. I cut them. So if it's in front of me, I'll do it. So the other day I saw 2 bottles of kefir that were in the sink. And I thought, well, I guess she wanted me to wash it. So I dump it on, wash it. And then she comes out later and say, where's my apple juice kefir? And I said, well, it was in the sink. So I thought you wanted me to throw it out. So don't always assume.
Not the brightest guy. But anyways, that just goes to say that, just clear communications, ask before you do things. So that was my last can of apple juice. We never actually have any apple juice at home.
And of course, I think the main thing is be in sync with your values, right? I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of relationships is, the husband may want this, the wife may want that, your partner may be thinking this is the direction they want to go, and you have a totally different direction. If you don't have the same values or the same vision moving forward, it's really hard to get, move forward, and that comes, with a lot of topics there, right?
For sure. I think like money, kids, and in-laws is probably the 3 most fight about topics between couples.
Correct.
So if you get those in line, then you're probably good.
Exactly. And this week, I think we have a very exciting guest, and I didn't even, to be honest, I wasn't sure what she did until I just found out now. But perfect, because we really love to talk about relationships, and being called the foolish couple. It's a very big part of who we are, what we do. And of course, everyone's always wondering how to work things out. So we're going to have a special guest today. Who's our special guest this week?
You'll find out soon. But before we bring her in, we're going to have the biohack.
We're going to have the biohacking tip for the week.
Okay, we'll see you then.
We'll see you soon. Hey everyone, it's Andy from Chronically Healthy Life. And on today's biohacking episode, I have my oldest kid here, Patches, sharing the stage with me to talk a little bit about longevity. After all, I'm a longevity coach, and a lot of people ask what this whole longevity is all about. Well, for me, it's really about living a very long time, obviously, right? But more so to having your health and vitality while you're living longer, right? You don't want to be living longer, being bedridden, living longer in a wheelchair, living longer where you can't have your mobility to get up and down, to exercise, to enjoy life, right? As we're getting older, we want to be able to enjoy life. And when it comes to longevity, come here, Patches. When it comes to longevity, it's important to measure where you are for your biological age versus your chronological age, right? And your biological age is the age of your body, how fast your body is aging, right? And your chronological age, well, that's the number that's on your driver's license, right? And ideally, you want your biological age much younger than your chronological age, right? And hence, longevity. So there are many ways to measure that. You can measure your telomeres. A lot of people do blood tests to measure their telomeres. You can measure your heart health through full body scans, through calcifications of your heart. And me and Minna, we've done a lot of these modalities to measure how young we are versus our biological age versus our chronological. And in most cases, we are about 10, 20 years younger, right? Our full body scans are showing our heart age is easily 10 to 20 years younger. Our exercise tests or fitness tests I do for a lot of my clients is showing we are easily 10 to 20 years younger than our actual age. But there's another test, and it's called your grip strength test, right? And I actually ordered this and got this from Amazon today. And I just wanted to know, well, where do I fit in on this grip strength test? Because for me, it's always about trying to beat that chronological number, right? We don't want to be older than we actually are. And there are tests showing that depending on how strong your grip is, it actually can determine your biological age versus your chronological age. So I think, what the hey, I'm going to order one and try it out. And all you need to do is you basically turn it on, right? You put it on, you bend your arms at 90 degrees like this. You put your hand over here. And you just go squeeze, 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 squeeze as hard as you can. And then you take a look at your number. And my number here is 78.6. And accordingly to the stats, that's about normal for my age, 50 to 54, which I'm not happy about, right? I don't like being normal. So this is definitely one of the variables I need to work on to improve my grip strength. There's no excuses. Everything else, my cardio strength is good. My leg strength is good. But apparently, after today, I found out my grip strength sucks. So there's always room for improvement. Just wanted to give you another measurement for your biological age. Once again, it's called a dynamometer. Only about $25 from Amazon. I'm gonna do one more time to see what my number is. Deep breath in and squeeze. Even Patches is freaking out. Let's see what Daddy gonna get. Woo! Not bad. Okay, take a look at that. I got 96.6, and that's actually in the upper level for normal to excellent for my age group. But I want excellent in the age group before mine. So I still need to work on it. But yeah, go out there. Just another way to measure your chronological age versus your biological age. We want to share ways for you to take measurements on where you are for health. I hope that helps, and I'll see you next week.
All right, strap in, folks. We're about to take a joyride through the fountain of youth. It's Annie Nam from Chronically Healthy Life. Ever wonder why some folks seem to age like fine wine, while others are more like a molded cheese that's been forgotten in the back of the fridge? It's like they got the energy of a Duracell bunny on Red Bull, while the rest of us are running on fumes. Now, you might think hitting the gym and munching on kale is the ticket to eternal youth, but sometimes it feels more like we're just speeding up the aging process. Picture this, you're on the treadmill, feeling like $1,000,000, and suddenly you look down and realize your knees sound like a bag of popcorn in the microwave. Not exactly the sound of youth, am I right? But fear not, my friends, because here's the kicker. It's not just about the number of candles on your birthday cake. It's all about those sneaky little stem cells playing hide and seek inside your body. At the age of 20, you got more of these bad boys than you can shake a stick at. But fast forward a few decades, and they're scarce as a parking spot in downtown Manhattan. But guess what? we got a secret weapon up our sleeves. Phototherapy patch technology without drugs. That's right, folks. With our stem cell activation patches, you can hit the rewind button on aging faster than you can say reverse aging. So if you're ready to reclaim your youth, look younger, feel stronger, and heal faster than a superhero with a side of espresso, then it's time to hop on board the rejuvenation train. Schedule your free consultation now at calendly.com/thefoolishcouple/stem cells. And let's make aging look like yesterday's news. It's not anti-aging, it's reverse aging, baby.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Lives. We're so happy to have Samantha Kaaua with us. Samantha is a speaker, author, and esteemed marriage coach, recognized for a counterculture approach to transforming relationships. And as the founder of the GEMS, GEMS, with Samantha Kaaua, and the creator of the innermost method, she is a beacon for individuals yearning to break through negative family patterns and lay the foundations for loving and trusting relationships. Samantha's influential work has been showcased on major media outlets, including Fox, NBC, CBS, and in numerous books, international publications. Samantha is on a mission to help save 10 million marriages, wow, by sharing her comprehensive understanding of relationship dynamics in her newest book, Finding Beauty in Your Broken Pieces, The Art and Science of Transforming Any Relationship. When Samantha is not busy transcending the culture of healthy relationships around the globe, she enjoys spending time with her supportive husband, Denver, and her 3 amazing daughters, Leilani, Jaslyn, and Hazley. Welcome, Samantha. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you, Minna. I'm doing amazing, and thank you for having me here.
We love to have you here. So, Samantha, tell me, what does the GEM stand for?
That's a great question. Thank you. Yeah, it's like, why is there an extra M there? As you can tell, as you might be able to tell, I love acronyms, but I don't think I'm alone here. And so the GEM stands for the gift of each meaningful moment shared.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that?
So I worked in substance abuse treatment early in my career while I was preparing to get licensed as a marriage and family therapist. And at one of the treatment centers that I worked at, we would give the clients assignments called GEMS. And it wasn't the same acronym, but it really was about finding these moments, moments of gratitude in their lives. And so I took the concept when I was looking to create a platform. Actually, this is like tangential, but because you asked, I ran for Mrs. Hawaii International, and I needed to create a platform, and the GEMS was born from that platform. And yeah, it was just a beautiful journey to get to that place, especially because I am not the beauty queen. I don't know if you can tell. I like, sweats, and I was a little bit more athletic and tomboy. So that was way out of my comfort zone. But
well, me neither. I don't put makeup on. I barely brush. I think I combed my hair today, so I'm good.
You did better than me. I don't brush my hair every day either. It's kind of like my fingers.
So Sam, would you tell us viewers what do you do?
Yeah. So I love, as I've said earlier, I have a background in marriage and family therapy. So I am a former marriage therapist and turned coach. So I love to support women specifically in their marriages that they're feeling struggle or strain, or there's some sort of betrayal that has happened, to completely transform their relationship. And one of the things we'll talk about a little later in this discussion is why I love to work with just one partner. But yeah, that's essentially what I do. I help women, and I have men as clients too, but I help one of the partners in the relationship to completely transform their marriage or their partnership by just working with them.
That's interesting. How did you get into this line of work? Did you choose it because you have backgrounds, experiences?
Yeah. I feel like it chose me. So I'm sure many people can relate, but I have a history of divorce in my family. So my parents were separated before I was even one, and they were divorced soon later. Many of my family members were divorced. And I remember as a child swearing that I would never get divorced. Not because divorce was bad, because I am so grateful my parents didn't stay together and create a toxic environment for me, but just because I wanted something different for my children. And then fast forward to about 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago now. And there I was on the brink of divorce, created this self-fulfilling prophecy of here I am about to get licensed, or actually I was about to graduate with my master's degree in marriage and family therapy, and my marriage was falling apart. So that was even worse. Right? Like, talk about.
So were you able to help yourself, or does someone else help you guide you through your marriage?
I definitely would say I got a lot of support outside of me, and then I had to do some of my own work as well. So that's what helped me to create the models that I work from today, is taking what worked and then shifting what didn't. So marriage therapy actually didn't work for me and my husband, and I was a marriage therapist. So I was like, well, now what? Right? So although I love marriage therapy and I believe in it wholeheartedly, there are appropriate times and places for you to engage in that. And so I help the population where maybe one partner isn't willing to go. And what do you do then? Right? Because most people just say, well, I guess we need a divorce then because you're not willing to do the work with me. And I created an opportunity for people to do the work and still transform the relationship. Yeah.
That's interesting because on like TV they always see couples counseling as
Yeah.
two people sitting together and fighting. So you actually took a different path. You talked to the one that's willing to talk to you.
Exactly. And that's the reason why I did that and I do that, is because my husband wasn't willing to go to therapy, even though he went because he was threatened that, like, I mean, that tends to be the case, right? Like, if we don't go to couples or marriage therapy, then it's over. And of course, the other partner's like, well, I don't want it to end yet. So yeah, I'll try it. And that was his extent of his willingness to go. And it wasn't enough to create a successful experience. So yeah, I love working with the one who wants to work. And it's new information. Most people don't realize that the marriage can improve with just working with the partner who wants to do the work.
So how would someone know that they should come to you for help?
Yeah, well, I guess that's a great question, because most people think, oh, marriage therapy is the first thing we should try. And for most people, it fails, right? That's because it's just not appropriate yet. So you would know to reach out to me for support if your partner's not willing to go, or if there's hesitation, or if there's like this, I don't really want to work on myself, but if I'll do it for you, that's never a good sign, right? Like, doing something for someone else, there is no internal motivation, and that will create a lot of discord down the line. So the threshold is normally 3 months. So for any of you watching, if you went to therapy for 3 months and then it didn't work, that's normally the threshold. Somebody can fake it till they, to the point of they're done. They're like, yeah, I'll be there, I'll show up, I'll do some of the work. And then at the 3-month mark, they're like, nope, don't want to be here anymore, I'm done. And yeah, that's where either if you hit that wall, you can come see me. Or if you know already and you don't want to ever hit that wall, then you can come see me before that.
So how would one know that they're in trouble with the marriage?
It's more of, that's like, I think it's a subjective thing, right? There's not this cookie cutter way to know if you need help or not. For me, And for many of my clients, it's this feeling of being in what I call the cycle of insanity. Like you're just on this never ending wheel of feeling crazy, feeling like you're broken, feeling like something's wrong, but you don't know what it is. And you know you're a part of the problem, but you can't figure out what it is. And your partner's not willing to change, right? Those are a lot of the, I guess, identifiers as to when someone actually needs support and help. Most people wait till they're on the brink of divorce to get help. But if there's any struggle in communication, I know you and Andy were speaking about communication earlier on this segment. And really, if the communication is not, you're not communicating and it's not coherent, then yeah, it's a great time to reach out for support.
Yeah, because I know that, my family, we don't have a whole lot of divorces as opposed to Andy's family. Everybody divorced in his family.
Yeah.
So I guess the only experience I had is my own sister, probably about 15 years ago.
Okay.
She went through a divorce, but the interesting part is she was really unhappy, whereas my brother-in-law had no clue something is going on with her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that like a typical relationship?
That is kind of common. That's actually common because that's normally why the spouse is resistant to couples, is because they're fine. They're like, what's wrong with our relationship? Why do we have to go tell someone our problems? I'm fine. We're good. I don't need to work on anything. I'm happy, right? And even if it's not happy, I'm content. And so many a times, yeah, it's hard because one partner really wants to do work on the relationship and sees the challenges and feels frustrated, while the other one is content, or maybe even in this state of not wanting to shake things up or change anything, right? So yeah, that's really common.
Interesting. So what would your teaching look like when you just work with a client? What is it involved?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't do a whole bunch of lecturing and teaching. I think that life is the best curriculum that you can ever get. So I tell my clients to bring what's happening in their relationship, bring what's happening in their life, and I will teach them the tools that they need to get through whatever they're feeling stuck in that moment. And I think like being able to apply something in real time, right, when it's happening, will help you retain all of that information much longer. So yeah, when they work with me, it's really just coming to the calls, sharing what's going on. We talk about wins and gratitudes and the tools that they need just to get through whatever they're going through.
So I know you have teaching points. Can you walk us through what does it look like?
Yeah. So the teaching points that I have for us today, really presence is my title. So you see here on the screen, it says Marriage Mind Shift Coach. And the reality is, in order to transform the relationship, it really starts within yourself, right? Oh, just pulled my hair. Just improving relationships from within is the title of this segment. And that's what we're doing. We're shifting our mind in order to transform the relationship. And so I wanted to share with you 3 of the main mind shifts, right? Mindset shifts that I teach my clients in order to help them to create this transformation. So the first one is that, wait, let me just make sure I say it in the order that I told you I was going to say it in, because that's important. But, and now I misplaced my notes. It's okay. I'll just go off the cuff. So first and foremost, your partner is a perfect reflection of your subconscious beliefs. And yeah, I'll let you chew on that for a second. You have a question? Did a question pop in?
What does that mean? It's like how do I know what my subconscious beliefs are?
Well, that's the thing. Most people don't know what their subconscious beliefs are because it's subconscious, right? So, but what you can do is look at your partner and say, what bugs me about them? What are my pet peeves? What are the challenges that we're seeing on a repeated basis? Well, that's what your subconscious beliefs are about either relationships, about men, about women, about marriage, right? About communication. There's so many different beliefs that we operate from at any given moment. And the only way to change our results is to change the subconscious programming that we have. But if you don't know your subconscious programming, you can't change. Well, now you know that your best tool is your spouse. So, and the beautiful part about this is what you shared earlier, Minna, is you said, and I was taking notes earlier in this segment, like, don't push the buttons. Just don't. Figure it out and then don't push it, right? And that's what most couples end up doing. They end up pushing the buttons over and over. And what you two have beautifully done, and I would totally rename the two of you from the foolish couple to the wise couple, because you guys have so much wisdom between the two of you. Like, all the tips you gave were beautiful and on point. So but you were able to, because you have a healthy subconscious belief about marriages, and Andy was able to view your parents from a healthy perspective of marriage and say, oh, I believe it's possible because of Minna's parents. And so his subconscious belief was that it's possible because you had a model to show both of you what it could look like. And so you took the pet peeves, you took the buttons, and you're like, I'm not going to push them because what they do is not push them. So I'm going to take that belief and take that model and use it.
So Samantha, if I turn around and ask you, is that why you feel like you were on the brink of divorce because your family had a history of divorce?
Yes.
And that's I feel like a lot of viewers might feel the same way because, well, my mom's divorced, my dad's divorced, I might as well go through a divorce. And that's not a gene, right?
No, it's definitely not a gene. It is a generational belief, but not necessarily genetics. And yes, it had a lot to do with me becoming to that point of being on the brink of divorce, where my family was very matriarchal. So we had strong, empowered women. And the men in our family were really passive. And my grandfather on my mom's side had a drinking problem, and my grandmother had to step up and leave him. My parents, there was a breach of trust in the relationship. And so my mom had to step up and leave him. And so there was this perpetuating pattern of men lie and men leave, and we cannot trust them. And so I didn't know that consciously up until the point where I figured it out, which was, 7 years ago. But when I took a deeper look at it, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's just playing out what I already believe about men. He's just like, I believe they're liars, and he lied. Like, oh, okay. And when I shifted that belief to, okay, I can trust other people because I can trust myself. And I learned how to trust myself first around men. Because what that belief led to was, I don't know how to, like, men lie and I can't trust them, but more so, I can't trust myself to know how to read that. I can't trust myself to pick a good man. The women in my family don't pick great men, right? So it led to this mistrust of self. And when I trusted myself, I could trust my husband. And when I started trusting him, despite what he was doing and what he was saying and how he was showing up, he became trustworthy. He showed up differently. And that changed everything.
And that's because you changed.
Yeah, because I changed. Right? I always use this example. So think of the law of systems. Think of an ecosystem, for example. If you change one part of an ecosystem, say an extinction of a species or an evolution, either or, but there was a change in a species, by law, scientific law, the rest of the ecosystem must and will change. Right? Or the ecosystem will collapse. It will eventually end if the rest of the system doesn't adapt. So the same is for a marriage. two people, a marriage is an ecosystem. It's a system. It's an open system. And if one part of that system changes by law, the other part of the system will change, right? Or it will come to a natural completion where it's very amicable and natural and just, you're parting ways and it's time. You've completed the marriage or the relationship. But more often than not, the other party rises up to the occasion.
That's interesting. I never thought of a relationship as a ecosystem.
Yes.
So let's move on to your other second point about healthy relationships.
Yeah, so I did touch upon it already, but all relationships must be built on a foundation of self-trust, right? So I shared with you that I needed to learn how to trust myself before I could trust anyone else. And I didn't know that. I thought trust must be earned. I thought, right, that's what we're taught in society, is that people need to earn my trust. But the reality is, people are going to do untrustworthy things all the time, not on purpose, not, to hurt you, but we're human. We make mistakes all the time. And if every mistake counted towards taking off a marker of trust, we would trust no one. And well, here we are in our world today, trusting no one. So what I'm trying to instill here is that we need to trust ourselves first. And it really doesn't matter if we trust the other person. Because if I trust myself, if say my husband were to, he was struggling with an addiction. And so say my husband were to relapse, I can't dictate or know or foresee the future if he would ever relapse again. But now I trust myself that if that does happen, I know that I will handle it in the best way possible for myself and my girls. Right? And that's all I need, is to trust myself that whatever comes my way, I will handle it and I will be okay. Because that's the fear, is that we won't be. Right?
That's such a very profound. I feel like I do trust myself, and I trust myself enough that I know how to handle any situation. So I think that's might be a reason why we stick together. And I know Andy's not here, but when I look at his parents, there's no trust. Like, she would lie, tell other lies to the kids, and he would tell us different lies to the kids, and they just don't work together. And yet they somehow are together.
Yeah.
And I think that affects the kids in a negative way.
Yeah, because they can see it. Absolutely. I feel like kids are the best lie detectors. They know. They know. And then the final one is, we definitely talked about it as well, is that it only takes one person to transform a relationship. That you can be the change agent in any relationship you have. And here's a bonus mind shift for you that I didn't share with Andy and Mina before this, but it's just really quick, is that everything is a relationship. Everything. You relate to your car, you relate to your job, you relate to time, to money, to your home, as well as people, as well as animals, as well as the environment. So everything in essence is a relationship. You relate to everything in your world. So when you begin to build trust within yourself, you will up-level not just your marriage or your intimate relationships, you will up-level all your relationships with your body, with your mind, with your soul, all of the above.
Yeah, I love that, because we talk about relationship with money, not just with spouses, but with money, with animals. It is true. It is everywhere. I love that.
Yeah.
So tell us, how does your husband feel when you went through that kind of transformation?
Yes. So he knows that I share this all the time. And everyone's like, is he okay with you talking about him? And yeah, so it was really profound when I wrote my book, right? Finding Beauty in Your Broken Pieces. When I wrote that, my editor actually said, so what does Denver feel about this? Like, is he okay with these stories that you're sharing about him? And I said, yeah, he knows. And he's like, but I don't believe you. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I need him to write something down. So he actually he wrote my foreword.
wow.
So he wrote a little letter to all the readers about how he feels about me sharing this. And he is on board that if we can even help one couple, one marriage, one person to find something, and find beauty in their broken pieces, find joy, find love, find happiness, and mend a relationship, then it's all worth it. So yeah, we get to share the dark because we know that we're also inspiring the light.
I love that. So let's talk about your book. Is it primarily about your experiences, or do you have like other stories about relationships?
Yeah, I have a couple other client stories in there. I have a lot of testimonials in the beginning as well, but it is about my story, but it really is more about how to transform any relationship, right? And we said everything is a relationship. So it is this book, a step-by-step guide really to transforming the relationships in your life. And the subtitle being The Art and Science of Transforming Any Relationship. So yeah.
So do you have any examples to walk through the viewers on what it feels like before and what does the transformation look like?
Yeah, so before there's a lot of feeling of being crazy, feeling stuck, frustrated that your partner's not changing, really feeling at wit's ends, but like at a crossroads, right? Because you want to stay together for your family. You want to break the generational pattern of dysfunction. There's so much riding on you fixing this, right? But at the same time, they've had enough. It's just too much. So that's what it looks like before. And once we work together and work through the process, at the other end of it, many, like, it's not that their marriage has completely like become butterflies and rainbows and roses and perfection, right? It's not that. It's really that feeling of empowerment to watch themselves grow into this person who's confident and proud of themselves, who loves themselves, trusts themselves. And when their spouse does something that in the past would trigger them and they're no longer triggered, that's the hugest win in the world. It's like they just did that and I acted with kindness and grace and showed empathy and didn't get triggered, and that actually was the catalyst for their spouse to change, right? Because when you're no longer a part of that cycle and they're like, whoa, they're not reacting anymore. They're like, okay, well, I need to do something different to get their attention. Or I need to, like, oh, okay, that's not working. So that's what it looks like on the other end. It's not perfect, but what happens is this feeling of empowerment and this feeling of self-confidence and love that you can actually influence change in someone else through showing them love and compassion and grace. And that's a beautiful feeling that you don't have to yell, scream, shout, and force someone to change, right?
So once someone goes through that transformation, is there any chance it could relapse back into the other mode? Does that happen?
Yeah, for sure. So in any transformation, I know Andy works in this field too, and you do as well. We know that when we're creating new neural pathways, right, patterns and operating systems, we can easily go back into old grooves because they're deeper and more defined and they're just easier to fall back into. So yes, there's a lot of people who fall back into old ways, but that's really what a coach is for, right? That's what Andy is here to help with, and I'm sure you are too, is to help you stay on track long enough to create a pathway that is deeper and the grooves are more defined than what was in the past. So
Right, because Annie does more like developing healthy habits in terms of the eating, the exercising, the sleeping, and what you do on the other side is the relationships and how your mindset shifts. That's
yeah.
fantastic. So Samantha, I know you have a gift away that you can give to our viewers. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so one of the things like you asked and I mentioned is this feeling of being crazy and not knowing whether to stay or go, right? And so that's really that point of insanity, I feel like, that where the suffering happens is when you're indecisive. You don't know whether to stay or leave. And so this is a free guide to help you identify whether you should stay or go in your relationship. And it's simply 3 key questions to ask yourself before you leave your marriage or long-term relationship. Yeah.
So if they do go through this and they decide they need to get help, how did they contact you, Samantha?
Well, they'll definitely be sent many ways to reach out to me if they do sign up for that. But they can also contact me here on the screen. You can see my website, thegems.com, or they can email me, Samantha@thegems.com, or find me on Instagram. And that's Samantha_Kaaua.
That's fantastic. So do you have any last messages you want to tell our viewers?
Yeah, I think that, it really only takes one person to transform any relationship, and you are a change agent. You hold the key to doing that.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Samantha, for joining us today. We really loved the interview, and we hope to see you soon in a few months.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we're going to take a break, and Andy will come back and join us.
We all hope to age gracefully so we can enjoy later years of energy, vitality, and good health. But so often with age, our bodies show signs of things just aren't the same as they used to be. Our energy, skin, healing recovery time, and sleep all go downhill. If you had physical trauma that happened to your body like I did, this happens much faster. I felt like a 30-year-old trapped in an 80-year-old body. But do you remember as kids, the boundless energy we had, how fast we recovered? This is not because of getting old, but because of active stem cells inside our bodies. These are the cells that can generate and regenerate all the cells and structures in the human body. They are the building blocks of our organs, tissues, blood, and immune system. They also serve as an innate repair system everywhere inside the body. But as we get older, stem cell activity slows down, become less effective in repairing damage, and decline. By the age of 20, we only have 1 billion stem cells left. By 30, they decline by 60%. By 50, they decline by 75%. 60 by 9%. And by 80, we're lucky to have 50 million active stem cells. But what if we can naturally stimulate our bodies to reactivate and regenerate new stem cells through phototherapy without drugs? Now we can with our LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patches. Reclaim your youth and look younger, feel stronger, perform better, and heal faster. Get your patches now at lifewave.com/chronically healthy life. It's not anti-aging, it is reverse aging.
Hello. We are Mutton Meow's Rescue, a 501c3 nonprofit, foster-based, no-kill group. Mutton Meow's Rescue pulls dogs and cats from surrounding shelters in the greater Houston area. We even pick up dogs and cats abandoned on the streets. Mutton Meow's Rescue is foster-based and rely on your donations to keep rescuing. To know more about us is to know more about our furry friends and help them find their forever homes. Come visit us at Mutton Meow's Rescue on Facebook today and decide how you can make a difference.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. So what do you think of the interview?
I thought that was probably one of the best interviews we had in these 2 seasons. Maybe it hit, certain parts of me because like you mentioned, she's talking about divorce in the family. And so, wow, I got that. It ruined my family's divorce. Check. And it's crazy because you mentioned that a lot of couples, we're so ingrained that you have to go together. And I never thought that one person can lead the change, right? And that's a new perspective that I think a lot of people should look into when they're sort of suffering something, because it's sort of truth. The other person may not even know something's going on, but if the person that's seeing it's not going their direction, to start working on it, that'll be good. But one of the things I caught is she does work with men, which is good too.
So you have a trust issues, you go to Samantha.
Well, yeah, it's funny. She mentioned she had that survey at the end, the 3 questions. Now I'm hesitant to check that survey. What if I have the wrong answer on those 3 questions?
I guess the thing that we kind of ran out of time that we would touch on is when your relationship doesn't work out, like in my in-laws, your parents' case, your mom kind of hitch onto the kids.
Yes.
And that's actually affecting the kids in a way that is not exactly healthy, I guess.
Oh, totally agree. We talked a little bit about negative energy, and I love bringing this back because I think it was the first episode. I told my mom, do not call me this time. And of course, my cell phone rings with his flashing mom with her special ringtone, and everyone saw my facial expression change live on TV. I was like, well, that's the craziness that comes to my family when they call me. And I learned to channel that out, give them a special ringtone, so I know, am I ready to pick this up? But no, it's true. I think that if there are problems in the family, regardless, you don't want to be causing it that it comes down to generations and generations to your children, because they are modeling after you. Like, they absorb everything they see.
Yeah, so you definitely don't want to wait until it's too late before you get working on your relationship. So I love it.
Yeah, she was great. She had a lot of really, really good golden nuggets, and I hope she signs back up for a show. She was funny. She was funny. So like I said, I'd love to meet her husband. So we can have some. We should have some mentor. We should get the husband back, and I'll interview the husband. And let's see, get his perspective. Because we have to be fair, right? But no, I think that's very important. To share what happens in your life, because otherwise you can't grow, right? You have to share your failures in order to get further successes, right?
For sure. So let's talk about next week. Who do we have?
Next week we are gonna talk about financial freedom.
Awesome.
Right? We're going to talk about ways to get financial independence. And we have a dear friend, Nancy Alert, and I'm not going to burst her bubble. We'll let her share her techniques on how you can reach towards financial independence.
Awesome. So join us back here on Friday at 7 p.m. CST. You can watch past episodes at watch.e360tv.com in the Vitality TV network or on our YouTube channel. If you would like to know more about what we do and how we can help you live a chronically healthy life, visit us at our website at chronicallyhealthylife.com. And if you have any comments, questions, suggestions about our show, you can drop us your comments on our Facebook page, Chronically Healthy Life, or email us at anything@chronicallyhealthylife.com.
Of course, on the bottom of the screen, you can see it right along the bottom there. Set up a free consult, go right onto our calendar. And we'd love to talk about whatever you're facing with any health and longevity questions, and any which way we can help.
For sure.
Right? Yeah. We're done. Thank you for joining us for this week on the show. We're the Foolish Couple. I didn't even know if the show was done or not. We will see you next week.
See you next week.
Laura Cross, your host for Mindful Mondays, every Monday at 1 p.m. Central Time, where you can embark on a transformative journey of self-care and ultimate happiness. Tune in to the Voyage to Vitality channel on the Achieve TV network. Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross. Be there, be mindful, and join us on E360 TV.